Lil Nas X responds to outrage over the human blood in his Satan shoes. We've got brand new David Dobrik updates for you, plus Miley Cyrus is seen wearing Satan shoes and coming to the defense of the now controversial singer. All of that and a lot more, but first if you could please do us a big favor and smash that like button, we'd really appreciate it. With that out of the way, let's begin the InformOverload weekly roundup. So first things first, let's talk about Miley Cyrus defending Lil Nas X and his right to sell Satan shoes that apparently contain a drop of human blood. Amid the controversial drop of the shoes, Miley Cyrus took to Instagram to show off that she was able to actually snag a pair, and in the post she says, "Can you see Satan?" And the wild part is that we saw so many people in the comment section telling her that she's done and that they were unfollowing her for this. The comments were really split, some people were accusing her of mocking Jesus, while others left positive comments like Queen Legend or Queen of supporting their friends, which is all this really is, just one friend in the industry supporting another. You're not watching the growth of some satanic celebrity cult, that's called Scientology. Not to mention Miley's dad and Lil Nas X did a song together. I don't know if you've heard of it, it's called Old Town Road, which also was a raunchy song about adultery, but parents decided that it was suitable for their kids for some reason. Which is why we're getting such an adverse reaction from parents regarding his new song called Montero. Although in responding to the outrage over the shoes and the new music video, Lil Nas X points this out, saying, "There was no system involved. I made the decision to create the music video. I am an adult. I am not going to spend my entire career trying to cater to your children. That is your job." Later adding in regards to Old Town Road, "I literally sing about lean and adultery in Old Town Road. You decide to let your child listen. Blame yourself." This backlash is 100% a result of religious fragility though. But if these critics though were solid in their belief system, outside influence wouldn't affect you and you would be able to preserve your child's influence because you are teaching your own moral principles. Then when that child is an adult, they can live how they please. But don't blame others for corrupting your child. Your lack of parenting is the real reason. But with that though, let's send it over to Jared for sports and science.
Thanks, Johnny. What's going on, guys? Jared Bronstein here. Check it in to talk sports and science, baby. Starting things off, we got to talk about the new UFC Heavyweight Champion of the world, the one and only Francis Ngannou. If you've yet to see the fight, it was hard to watch Stipe go down, but ultimately there can only be one champion and no one deserves it more than Ngannou. Nicknamed the Predator and in the past being compared to Tyson, likely because his punch has been compared to that of a Ford Focus crashing, literally. Ngannou is the third African-born champ in the UFC, but his story is truly like no other. Working in a sand quarry at the age of 10, the Cameroon native's journey to France when he decided to pursue a career in fighting has been referred to as hell by the man himself. Crossing the Sahara Desert, then spending a year in Morocco before entering Spain on a boat through the Mediterranean Sea, Ngannou's story truly is a testament to how badly he wanted it. After getting into Spain, he was detained for 2 months for entering illegally, before making it to France, where he would be homeless until he found a fitness center to sleep and train in. In 2013, he would make his professional debut, and in 2015 would sign to the UFC. And I didn't even mention how he would swallow money so the border agents wouldn't steal all that he had, the 6 times he was dropped off in the middle of the desert while trying to cross into Spain from Algeria, which included his body being cut so bad by barbed wire he was hospitalized at one point. And when he took the boat over to Spain, he covered it in tinfoil so the radar wouldn't catch him. This man was determined and truly never gave up until he fulfilled his dream of being champion of the world. So a huge congrats to Francis Ngannou, and I'm excited to see him defend that belt. I don't know against Jones because, you know, he wants more money, but let Ngannou just win it all. Let's talk some science, baby! If you like space or you guys want to go up there, you better not be the Grinch, because apparently if you spend too long out of this world, your heart will shrink. That's exactly what happened to astronaut Scott Kelly, who spent a year at the International Space Station, headed on up back on March 27th, 2015. However, while up there, Kelly ensured he exercised regularly, using a treadmill, stationary bike, and resistance machine. Science. When he returned on March 2nd, 2016, scientists, who do science, did some testing to see the impacts of his adventure, specifically on his heart. The results published in March of 2021 determined that the largest chamber in his heart shrank in mass from 6.7 ounces to 4.9 ounces, which is about 27%. Now in space, it's no secret your body does things it doesn't normally do on Earth, for obvious reasons. No gravity, so you know, your body's kind of like, what's good, bro? And then you gotta say, science! Just so it knows. Dr. Benjamin D. Levine, the senior author of Circulation Paper and a professor of internal medicine at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center and Texas Health Presbyterian Dallas, wow, what a title, told the New York Times, I quote, "He did remarkably well over 1 year. His heart adapted to the reduced gravity. It didn't become dysfunctional. The excess capacity didn't get reduced to a critical level. He remained reasonably fit. His heart shrank and atrophied kind of as you'd expect from going into space." This study is believed to help the scientific community understand more about space travel and exploration in general. And in regards regards to Kelly, well, he said he isn't showing any symptoms of his travels, and if allowed, he'd do it all over again. Back to Johnny.
Thanks for those updates, Jared. Now let's move on to some feel-good news, shall we? Today we have yet again another hero of the week for our feel-good news section. While a man was shopping in New Mexico, he accidentally forgot to shut his car window. After returning to the car, though, he was stunned to find a swarm of 15,000 bees that had made the inside of his car their new home, which is truly what nightmares are made of. I mean, 15,000 bees? 15,000 of anything found unexpectedly in your car sucks, but 15,000 little bugs that can sting you? Yeah, no thanks. Soon though, the fire service were called in to help, which included off-duty fireman Jesse Johnson, who had also worked as a beekeeper in his spare time. Luckily, Johnson arrived prepared. He had some safety gear for protection as well as a hive kit and lemongrass oil. Shockingly enough though, there was only one report of someone that had been stung, as the fire department blocked the area to ensure the safety of other shoppers. It took them nearly 2 hours to deal with this, and later the fire department shared the ordeal on Facebook saying, "The Las Cruces Fire Department does not regularly remove bee swarms. However, to mitigate the mid-afternoon hazard the large swarm presented in a relatively high traffic area, firefighters determined the best remedy was to have the swarm removed and relocated swiftly." I mean, definitely. What would be another idea? Leave it. Currently, we have no idea how or why this swarm targeted the man's car or where they even came from, but luckily our hero of the week, Jesse Johnson, was there to brave that bee storm. With that though, let's send it over to the Spill Zone with Mackenzie for an update on David Dobrik.
Thanks, Johnny. So today on the Spill Zone, I'm going to be exposing David Dobrik yet again. This is because in his last apology video, he stated that he would be taking a break from social media to reflect on his most recent controversy. You know, classic stuff. However, in the midst of massive backlash against him, it was discovered that he's been uploading his old videos to Facebook. I guess that's how he's planning on paying the bills for his new massive house, now that YouTube has cut his ads and his sponsors have dropped him. And of course, I don't actually think that it's David who is uploading these videos. It's most likely his management or some other company that repurposes videos like this. But seriously, can they read the room? Honestly, whoever is making that decision seriously needs to spend more time on Twitter, or they need to follow us on our Instagram so they're kept up with the news. Gotta have that plug. The reaction to this seems mixed. A lot of people think it's no big deal because he's been posting to Facebook for a long time. However, some others think that he should keep his word if he wants to win back his followers' trust and not post anywhere like he said he would. Let me know your thoughts on this one in the chat. Back over to you, Johnny.
Thanks so much for those updates, Mackenzie. Well, folks, that has been today's show, but before we get out of here, let's check out some of your comments from our last weekly roundup. Tiger Mommy says, "I was disappointed that Johnny didn't do his daily burp. Every video pretty much he burps, so I waited." Well, you're gonna get one today. Colleen says, "I like the way you did this. It was so cute, but also like the newscast, but better." Thanks, Colleen. Madeline says, "Why watch the news when you can watch I.O.? You guys are awesome." That's what we keep saying. Introverts Rock says, "Earthquakes explained. The other planet is trying to get out." I mean, it sure seems like it. That's a good, yeah, I like that. Stephanie says, "I love hearing hero stories. Love to hear there's still good in this world." Oh, there's definitely still good in this world. We just have to look more for it. That's all. I mean, everybody is getting canceled, but there's still heroes out there making the news. And I will be here to bring them to you. But for now, that has been today's show. Big thanks to Jared Bronstein and Mackenzie Smith and our editing god, Daniela. I've been your host, Johnny Rogers, and until next time, stay classy, YouTube. It's Friday at 4, the weekly roundup. Can you say, can't even say 4 words. Which included off-duty fire stomach growl. I was like, well, that's getting loud.
I mean, Austin Matthews for sure. Who else has a mustache? Sam Elliott also has a mustache. I could still say him. I just feel like people don't know who he is. Oh, okay. It's early, guys. It's like 9. What time is it? It's like 9:06 or something. It's 9:07, and I gotta. I'm tired. I didn't sleep well, but let's do it anyways, baby. All right. Why are their titles always so long, man? I feel like it's always the science ones too, you know? Like, this is like 6 titles in one name. I could just be like Dr. Benjamin D. Levine, some scientist. Dr. Benjamin D. Levine, the senior author of Circulation Paper and a professor of internal medicine at the University of Texas Southwestern Medical Center and Texas Health. I can't do it, man.
Look at my hair. It's just bunched up into one thing. I hate when that happens. However, fuck.